Recognizes Ms. Wild.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For both witnesses, are there any updates that either of you can provide in this unclassified setting regarding the status of the hostages?
I could not. I'd be happy to talk to you in a different setting.
Thank you. Same for you. Okay. Let me ask you this. Is the administration in continuous contact with the Israeli government about the status of the hostages, and can we be assured that the administration will provide whatever assistance may be helpful in that effort?
24/7, I can assure you. And yes, we are providing all support.
Thank you. Moving on, ever since these horrible attacks, which don't need to be further described because we all know exactly what we're talking about, happened on October 7th. I personally have felt devastated. So many Americans have, as well as people around the world. I felt that both as an American and a member of Congress, but also as a Jewish American. But that heartbreak has been amplified by horrific cases of both Palestinians and Jewish Americans being targeted here in the United States, including the unthinkable murder of Wadi al-Fayoum, the 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy in Chicago, as well as the death of a 69-year-old Jewish man, Paul Kessler, after he was injured during an altercation at a rally or competing rallies while he was peacefully waving an Israeli flag. And that obviously is of deep concern to all of us for the safety of Americans generally, for the safety of people with Palestinian or any kind of Arabic background, as well as people who are Jews. And my concern is that in this climate, rhetoric that equates everyday Palestinians, civilians, let's just call them civilians, to Hamas, including at times in this body, Congress, is not just morally unacceptable, but it's also tantamount to actively endangering the lives of our fellow Americans. And I will say that as a representative of a district that includes a vibrant Jewish community, as well as a vibrant Palestinian American community and other Arab American and Muslim communities, these issues are really personal to me and many of my constituents. So first let me ask whether both of you agree with the premise that Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And would you agree that the rhetoric that equates Palestinian civilians or Palestinian Americans with Hamas is rhetoric that actually strengthens Hamas and undermines Israel's security by feeding into their propaganda that Hamas is a legitimate representative of the Palestinian people?
We absolutely make a distinction. Hamas as a terrorist organization has perpetrated a brutal set of attacks. The Palestinian people don't deserve to be lumped in such a way, and so we absolutely distinguish in our discussion of that topic.
And did you want to add anything to that?
It is, I completely agree with Assistant Secretary Leaf. The Palestinians in Gaza deserve much better than Hamas, and it is critical from a Department of Defense perspective that military operations distinguish between targeting Hamas and protecting innocent Palestinian civilians.
Thank you. I want to turn to something else just because of the shortage of time. I'm very, very concerned about the humanitarian assistance to innocent civilians in Gaza. And we know that the only place where this is available is through the Rafah crossing, which seems to have alternating access and the availability of passing through. As of a couple of hours ago, according to an article that I just saw during this hearing, the crossing's been shut down due to some sort of security incident. Can you speak about ongoing efforts to increase the amount of aid and how to get it to the innocent civilians?
Ambassador Satterfield and his team, backstopped by here in Washington, but backstopped by our missions in Cairo and Jerusalem, is working relentlessly. the operating environment is so phenomenally complex, and the security conditions on the other side in Gaza are parlous, that it has been just an exhausting effort to keep that aperture open. But that is what we are focused on, and we are determined to steadily increase the number of trucks over this next period. It's now about anywhere from 70 to 100. We want to get it up to 300, 400, 500.
John Leahy's time's expired. Chair
Thank you.
recognizes Mr. Jackson.